I have this relationship with Hawaii. Like for a long time, even though, like growing up, originally I was born in California, raised there, East Bay, and Los Angeles, and moved around. I stayed there consistently, and always was one of those kids who just moved around back and forth from Hawaii. My mom couldn't get it together, so she'll send me to different relatives, right? Mm-hmm. That's at the time. So that's how I ended up coming out here for 4th and 5th grade, moving back. Then come out here 7th grade, then move back. Then I ended up in high school, or I came out for summertime, 8th grade, then moved back, then high school. So I always had friends here and then go back and forth. And I was always in this weird world where, I go back to California and friends wouldn't even know that what was even happening in Hawaii. Like they really still thought like people were in huts and things on the beach. Grass skirts, and they'll still joke around. So I'll be like in the hood or something, or at school, or just friends, and they'll joke like, make these jokes like you're the island boy, you're the island black kid, And I'm like, it's not like that, So I ended up coming here in high school, and now I'm here. And then growing up, so I still had some friends that were at the other elementary schools, and then so they know who I was. Like Kaiser, I was the only black guy there. I was the only black guy who graduated that year from that school. Only black guy in there, and black guy named Todd, and there was a black girl named Taj.
Oh boy, I never thought you was brothers.
And then for some reason, they always thought we should date.
Oh,
like
surprise.
Because we're the only two black people. Like, it's so weird. So those kind of things of like, they don't notice that they're being racist.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but it was so funny. It was always like these, locals have these like, the local kids would have these jokes. They would still have the jokes of like white kids, like something like, nappy headed, big lips, those kind of jokes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Or like go in high school, you get your you have this diverse group of friends, but they don't realize that they do things in front of you. Like they'll be smoking cigarettes and be like, don't nigger lit my cigarette. Or, like that kind of stuff, like to each other, not realizing that it's hurting you. Right. So it's always I always had this like, and it's almost like when you're trying to relate with your environment or locals, period. And then I've never really felt like at home at times.
Really?
Like this was not like my home. Like I lived here for a long time. And even though I'm considered local, I never really felt like it, because it seems like the culture of things, like I just wasn't embraced in a way. And people will be like, I hear some people like, you're just being too sensitive. You're being too sensitive about that. And I'm like, no, I'm not. It's like, say for instance, you'll see people started embracing like blackness, like when hip hop started coming in. Mm-hmm. When hip hop started coming in, and then, you got island reggae and reggae. Back then it was like Hawaiian music, and then, in the late 90s, and, it was Hawaiian reggae. And, but then they wouldn't, but then sometimes you'll hear the N-word too amongst, like when someone gets angry or it's thrown around.
Yeah.
They still have prejudice like jokes. And it just, so that always kind of confused me. Like, here I got the local with the dreadlocks and wearing a Bob Marley shirt, but he's making a black joke. So it's almost like this cultural identity, like this identity crisis in a way. And sometimes I wouldn't be, well, I can't even speak for that person. So sometimes I felt like it was either mean-spirited, or sometimes I'm just like, they just don't get it. Not only you have the responsibility to learn about it, you have a responsibility to protect it as well.
And not,
like for example, you can go on Instagram and type in you can type in Hawaii model. Scroll it up. Look how many dark faces you see on there. Scroll it, all Asian, white, Asian, white, Asian, white. You won't see anything. You can still scroll. I challenge you to do it now.
Gonna do it right
yeah,
now.
how many you'll see? Like how many people that you see, or how many things that you see in Hawaii that has a dark skinned person on the cover that represents the face of Hawaii?
What do you want me to type? Hawaii.
Just type in hashtag Hawaii model.
Okay.
See how many things you get, you get, or like, I'm just saying for the face of Hawaii, I noticed no one puts a dark skinned face in front of Hawaii, but yet they adapt they adapt a lot of they're inspired by a lot of the culture. The kids wear the hats, they dress like it, they speak the phrases,
First dark face. Face, sorry.
Yeah.
But person of color.
Yeah.
A male model too.
Yeah, male model. Yeah.
Wow. Shout out to this guy.
Okay, what's that one? Now, how many else you got? What is that, one?
No, the rest is exactly what you said.
Exactly what I said. So if you look, and that's still today. And how many magazine covers you see has dark people of color on their magazines? Nothing. So pulling it back to Kamaka.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what we were talking about. That's pulling it back to Kamaka. Or Kamaka Kehau. So pulling it back to like, this is 2022. And here you got Hawaii's like been the biggest fan of reggae and been, and then the big fans of hip hop and the big fans of even the music. And a lot of the cover songs are Motown and soul music, but not anything that represents or put a dark skin on the front and saying this is, or even saying that Black people are part of Hawaii. So that's what bringing it back to Kamaka. That's what we're doing, working closely with the Obama Museum, the Obama Hawaiian Africana Museum. So that's going to be bridging the education and the learnings of 200 years of Black history in Hawaii, which nobody...
I support that. I
have a bad word of saying nobody, but I'm saying when I say most,
not literally. Nobody.
Yeah. A lot of individuals do not know of these stories of Anthony D. Allen or Alice Ball or
Adam Keave, I believe. One of his posts recently put me on that as far as like. Oh, there it is. I'll just show it with you. Right? This guy, Adam Keave. So he shared this.
Can you send me that?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you right now. Shout out to Adam Keave for. You're dropping gems all the time.
And you can, and look, and they can argue with me to the sun goes down, the sun goes up. Look at the old pictures of royalty, even like of Kamehameha and family and the lineage. They have big noses, finger waves, black, it's the essence of
I've been mistaken for Polynesian many times. When I had hair.
The proof is in the pudding, man. It's like when you see it, you're just like, what it is. No one could tell you anything different.